Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is Thursday, April 3rd. I'm Christopher Sent, Provost of Lewis University. Dr. Livingston is unable to join me today. After 5 years of doing the show and 134 episodes, Logan Kapp, our technical director, felt like we should take 60 seconds and look back at where this all started.
Good afternoon to everyone who's joining us from the Lewis community. This is Dave Livingston, president of Lewis, and I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sent. We're going to try to answer some questions today. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations from Stritch. For the third season, this is our fourth season. It is incredible to be back for our fifth season. We're excited to be here. Welcome to our show. We're really grateful for your presence here today. We do have a really busy week coming up. There's a lot going on campus. We're going to bring in a guest here right now.
I'm really excited to welcome our guests, Dr. Kurt Shackmuth, Esther Kraft, Dr. Stephen Nawara, John Carey.
I do want to say thank you to everyone who is watching now, or if you'll watch next week on YouTube. We really appreciate you. We just wish for you nothing but the best. Thank you for joining us today. Many blessings to you and all those that you love.
Thank you so much. Logan, thanks for that really beautiful trip down memory lane at all of my aging that has happened in the last 5 years, and in the many suits that Dr. Livingston and I have had over that time. It's really great. I hope he gets to see it when he comes back. So much has been going on. It's a really great week. It's a little brisk today. Hope people get out and get a little exercise. I was really pleased this week on Tuesday to attend the Eid al-Fitr dinner at Brown Hall. That was a really fun event. I just really want to thank Chef Tony for making an incredible feast to celebrate the breaking of Ramadan, and so many students enjoyed it, and so many students enjoyed having food that was connected to their culture and heritage, but also many students at Lewis were introduced to some really amazing food, and I loved eating there on Tuesday night. Also on Tuesday night was the Ecos del Mariachi Festival. That evening, incredibly rich and complicated, wide array of music in the mariachi tradition was on display in Borromeo, and it was really impressive and fun night by our students and some community members as well. This week's Community Hour featured an Easter egg hunt, a card making event for Lurie's Children's Hospital, an information session on poster presentations for the upcoming celebration of scholarship, and a Peace and Justice Studies community lunch. Today and tomorrow, Lewis is hosting the Chemical Mechanical Planarization Group meeting, a national and international conference of researchers and professionals focused on the CMP process, which is a vital part of the microchip industry. It includes talks by professors, students, and industry experts from companies like 3M and DuPont. I'm excited to go over there tonight. I think many people are there now. Our guest needs to leave right after we're done to go over there. Really amazing that we have this extraordinary national and international event going on here on campus. Looking forward to Saturday, we will be hosting the 57th Annual Associated Colleges of the Chicago Area. We often call that ACCA, Annual Student Scholarship Symposium, which features student research from universities throughout the Chicagoland area, giving talks, panel discussions, and poster presentations. Also on Saturday, Lewis will be hosting the Ready to Fly program from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Ready to Fly program is a flight simulation program created and facilitated by students and faculty across disciplines such as occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, physical therapy, and aviation, and to support families of neurodiverse children and/or children with other disabilities. Through this program, the interprofessional team provides a safe, controlled environment where participants can experience the essential stages of airport travel, preparations, check-in, security screening, and boarding, thereby enhancing their familiarity with these processes and reducing potential stressors when traveling. this weekend and and into Monday. And Tuesday is the annual Higher Learning Commission Conference. Many of us will be going to that through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. It's the conference that happens every year by the Higher Learning Commission, which is our accreditor, our regional accreditor, and where we learn about innovations in higher education as well as any new regulations that may be coming along the pike. And this year, more than any other, it really feels like it's going to be really useful to go to that, connect, ask lots of questions about some of the new policies that we're experiencing from the federal government, and trying to, and also talk to colleagues from many other universities who are, developing doing different things around learning, education, and responding to the federal government. As always, just a reminder that we are paying really close attention to the orders and other statements and actions by the federal government in relationship to higher education, and we will be responding. We're always in conversation about it, and we will be responding as needed as we go. And if there are ever any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or many of the other contacts you have at the university. So a little bit of news. Congratulations to Dr. Jamil Mustafa, who has been named co-editor of Gothic Studies, the leading journal in the field of Gothic scholarship. Dr. Mustafa has been a professor of English studies at Lewis since 2000 and has published extensively in the area. Congratulations to Dr. Amanda Harsey for her publication in the publication called Springer Nature Research in Mathematical Sciences. The paper is called Optimal Tile-Based Self-Assembly of DNA Dipramids and Trapezohedrons. Our guests can help me with those pronunciations. That paper is co-authored with Dr. Corey Johnson from California State University and Dr. Jessica Sorrells at Converse University. So congratulations to Dr. Harsey for that publication. A couple of events that are a little bit further out. The St. Augustine College at Lewis University Student Council and Student Success Center is hosting its third annual Family Day event for students and families. Friends and families are invited to join the fun from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on April 12th in the St. Augustine Hall on the Argyle Street campus. Children's activities, giveaways, and raffle prizes are among the fun activities, as well as educational resources that will be available focused on time management, financial planning, parenting as a student, and employee benefits, among others. Our annual celebration of service will be April 16th at 3 p.m. Here we will honor faculty and staff who have served from a wide range of years from 10 to 40, as well as our recent retirees. Speaking of celebrations, we are excited to announce that the 13th annual Celebration of Scholarship will take place on April 23rd and April 24th at the main Romeoville campus. On Wednesday, April 23rd, we will have an extended community hour from 12 to 2, and on Thursday, April 24th, Celebration of Scholarship will go from 10 to 6. So Celebration of Scholarship is a campus-wide student symposium open to all undergraduate and graduate students. Celebration of Scholarship provides a platform for showcasing research projects, artistic creations, and innovative ideas, allowing students to share their achievements with faculty, peers, and the broader Lewis community. It highlights the diverse talents and intellectual contributions of the students from various disciplines, and participants are encouraged to present their work in oral presentations, posters, business plans, creative performances, or exhibits reflecting the richness of scholarly and creative endeavors across the university. And I'm so excited. It's my favorite day of the year. Please put time aside in your schedules on that day to just wander around, go to panels, talk to students at their poster presentations, watch them read their poetry or talk to them about their art. It's so impressive to see, and it's also, I really learn things at every one of these celebrations of scholarship, and it's just a reminder of how much universities do with and for students, but also what they do for the intellectual richness of the world, of the United States and beyond. Philip Lynch Theater presents Ride the Cyclone by Jacob Richman and Brooke Maxwell. The musical follows the lives of 6 teenagers from a Canadian chamber choir whose lives are cut short in an accident aboard a roller coaster. When they awake, a mechanical fortune teller invites each of them to tell their story of a life interrupted, offering a prize like no other, the chance to come to terms with their fates and possibly the chance to return to life. Really interesting sounding play. Again, I hope I'm not giving away the plot by giving away the plot. I think that really interesting part is what happens once they reach that point in the story. And again, we saw a little piece of this musical at the CoFAC Kickback a few weeks ago, and it looked like a really amazing cast doing really great work. So the first weekend of performances is April 25th through 27th, and the second is May 1st through 4th. So get your tickets at the box office or online, and prepare to watch the final play of the year, Ride the Cyclone. So looking a little shorter term at the events that are coming up today and through the weekend, we have today poster making with the Social Work Association. We have a poetry reading featured by the Creative Writing Series by Angelique Zobitz and Diego Baez. Tomorrow, the BSU is doing Game of Spades, and the Drama Club movie play presentation is happening in the Studio Theater. On Saturday is the ACCA Symposium I mentioned already, and the Ready to Fly event. And then we have softball, doubleheader softball against the University of Missouri St. Louis, I believe that is, and the Drama Club movie play presentation going on as well on Saturday afternoon. Doubleheader in baseball against Davenport on Sunday, as well as more softball against Lincoln, and as always, Mass on Sunday night. And then looking into next week, Latin Z Testimonios and Platicas on language, shame, resistance, and healing, and the Miss Cultura Informational, which is put on by Sigma Lambda Gamma. Tuesday, we have more baseball and the speech language pathology white coat ceremony. And then finally, wrapping around to Wednesday and community hour, we have a lot going on that day. Habitat Crumble fundraiser. I don't think a day goes by when I don't hear something about Crumble. Very popular, so we're using it for everything, as well as more. We kind of began the Easter spirit yesterday with community hour, and that will continue through next week with the OT Easter egg hunt, pop-up thrift store, Chicorone's fundraiser, and then during community hour proper, a whole bunch of stuff you can see there on the screen, from candle making to a mass and community meal, to information about tuition exchange for employees here, as well as another great use of our new movie theater, DL 250, with the Best Shorts film series continuing on. So much going on. As we've mentioned lately, there's just a really, really busy week, a really busy time in any university semester. And we just want to wish our athletes good luck on their travel. Men's volleyball will be playing Fort Wayne, Purdue Fort Wayne tonight. And then Saturday we'll be at Ohio State, playing Ohio State. Track and field will be at the Chicagoland Championships in Elmhurst all weekend. Baseball will be at Davenport. We host Davenport, and then we go to Davenport over the next 4 days in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And men's and women's lacrosse will be at Indianapolis. Men's golf will go up against also Indianapolis at the Ken Partridge Invitational, and they will be there Monday as well as that tournament continues. So good luck to all of our athletes who are off campus this week. So really excited to welcome our guests. Before I do so, please remember that you can email a question to our guests, and I'll get it into the conversation at the email address that you see at the bottom of your screen. Ask us at lewisu.edu. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, you can still use that email to write a question, and we will get it to the guest or whomever might be able to is best suited to answer the question. So I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Christopher White, who joined Lewis in 2019 and is the Dean of the College of Aviation, Science, and Technology. He's an experimental particle physicist who has collaborated on several high-profile projects across 3 continents. Before coming to Lewis, he was the Vice Provost of Academic Affairs, I believe, at Illinois Tech in Chicago. So Dr. White, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us today. This is sort of a general conversation. I have some specific things that are going on in the college that I'm interested in, and I'm just going to refer to the college as CoAST from now on, which is the acronym we all use. Things that are going on in CoAST that I'm going to ask you about, but really we can talk about just about anything, and people can ask questions of Dr. White about any range of subjects, and we'll try to get them in. But I just want to begin by, because I just read the biography, like tell me a little bit about your research. And let me ask you the way that I ask people when they apply for jobs here, when they're in fields I don't understand, to pretend like we're at like a cocktail party and you're explaining your research.
Yeah,
to
absolutely,
me. Okay.
absolutely. So actually, how did I end up in particle physics? And I was one of those little kids who always wanted to know the reasons why things were. Why is the sky blue? Why does the wind blow? And the pursuit of the questions always led me to additional questions. Mm-hmm. And I came to the conclusion when I was in high school that I wasn't going to be satisfied unless I could study the most fundamental pieces that make up the universe. So that's when I decided I needed to be a particle physicist. And it was such a pleasure and a joy to be able to actually follow through and get through college, get through grad school, and actually then get a job where I could work on particle physics experiments all over the country. And it really did. A lot of those experiences are what made it possible for me to be here at Lewis University. And one of the things that's most important about particle physics is that you have sometimes hundreds, if not 1,000 people coming together for a common purpose to design, build, and then operate a very complex piece of equipment to try to learn something about the way in which the universe is put together. So there's an enormous amount, my training, not just was scientific, but was also in working in organizations, in planning, project management. So the highlight of my career was when I was working on the largest scientific project between the United States and China. Uh-huh. And the goal, in some sense, the broader goal, was to have an understanding of why the universe exists at all. So why is
That's a good goal.
The table actually there? Mm-hmm. And the experiment that we did was one step on this journey to answer that question. Mm-hmm. So what we were looking at were these little particles called neutrinos. And we now think that neutrinos may hold the secret to the explanation for why we have the universe and why humans exist. The laws of physics that we know of are symmetric in that we have matter and there's antimatter. So the laws of physics say that they should be equal in quantity. So at the beginning of the universe, the amount of matter and antimatter should have been created in equal quantities, so that in the subsequent time, they would have annihilated with each other and there would be no matter left. Mm-hmm. Yet, we know that we live in a universe that's filled with matter. Mm-hmm. So there must be an asymmetry, there must be a difference between matter and antimatter. And so then we have to understand where that difference, where that asymmetry comes from. And so the parameter that we measured in the experiment in China is the next step towards answering that question. And then the answer that we arrived at is then used by the next generation of experiments to try to pinpoint and narrow down exactly where this difference between matter and antimatter exists to explain the reason why we have a matter-filled universe today. Does that help?
That's really helpful. And fascinating. So tell me about, so that's what your work has been in, and I really appreciate, I never thought of it that way, that you had to collaborate a ton and lead teams and do complex.
Across cultures and continents.
Across, we saw a picture of you in China, I think, there a minute ago. And so that's really interesting. So in your mind, that relates to being a dean
Yes.
Could you maybe explain that a little bit to people? Most people don't know what a dean
So
does.
I am the leader of the college, and so we have 5 departments. Aviation. We have electrical, computer, and mathematical sciences, which is a department. Biology, chemistry, and physics. And so as the academic leader of these departments, it's about helping all of the faculty within the department be able to do their jobs well. I often will tell people that my job is to clear the path in front of the faculty so that they can do their jobs. And that's often what happens in the particle physics realm. The leaders of the particle physics experiment are facilitating the students and the postdocs and the junior faculty members so that they can design and build and operate the experiment. And we provide the resources, we provide the knowledge, we provide the expertise. If somebody has a question, in some sense, similar to what a thesis advisor would do for their thesis student, the thesis student is out trying to discover amazing things, and then they come back to the advisor and saying, hey, I'm stuck here.
Right.
I need this resource or I need this advice, can you help? And I see my job a little bit like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And then tell me a little bit about what you taught in your career. I know you've taught a little bit since you've been here, but I very much understand that that's super hard. But what, like throughout your career as a professor, what did you teach?
A little bit of everything. So one of my favorite classes to teach is actually the introductory science courses, introductory physics, both for people who wish to become scientists, but also for people who don't wish to become scientists. Another class that I actually have a publication, a book, you could call it like a textbook, on introductory electronics, hands-on. So it's a lab guide to learning how to build electronic circuits.
Okay.
And the course was originally taught to scientists and mechanical and aerospace engineers so that they would have some foundation in basic electronics. And I taught that class for a very long time. In addition, various modern physics, particle physics, nuclear physics, and one of my favorite classes to teach, which I've actually taught here at Lewis University, is astrophysics.
Oh. What is that?
Astrophysics is everything that's in the universe. So
Does it include the Earth, or does it
it
exclude
does.
the
It can.
Earth?
Well, it depends on what you want to include or what you don't want to include. The way that I actually taught the class at Lewis University is a little bit non-traditional, where I started with the Big Bang, and then I taught it in like a chronology order.
Okay.
So we go back to the very beginning of the universe, and I talked about the early stages before even inflation, and how then we had the cosmic microwave background, and we have the expanding universe, and how then the matter with interactions with the dark matter coalesced down to create galaxies. So then we talked about galaxies, galaxy formation. And then once you get within a galaxy, we would talk about how individual stars and star systems would form. And we would talk about the different types of stars, and we talked about the evolution of stars. And then at that point, we got to solar systems. And so we would talk about how our particular solar system, the theories and the ideas behind our solar system formed, and then talk specifically about the formation and evolution of the Earth itself. So I took the approach start from the beginning and then just go through time to where we are today.
Sounds like a history class.
It was, and teaching a lot of science along the way.
That's cool. So I'm going to shift gears now to things that are going on around here. So do you want to tell us a little bit about this CMP conference that's going on,
so we are very blessed.
A little bit of a sense of the significance of it.
Yes. So we are very blessed at Lewis University to have an international expert on chemical mechanical planarization of semiconductor materials, Dr. Jason Kelleher, and so the work that he does is to try to prepare silicon wafers so that they can be chopped up and then inserted into the chips that then get installed in the various electronic devices.
Okay.
So it's a piece of the industrial process by which electronic chips are manufactured and then used. And then as the technologies advance, obviously additional planarization techniques are necessary in order to keep the progress proceeding. This particular conference is bringing other industry and research experts from around the world to come talk about what's going on internationally, nationally, and what is coming up into the future. Because at these conferences, yes, people will review what happens in the past, but that's really just a setup for, okay, where are we going to go next? Where are the next advances going to be? And the fact that Lewis University is one of the key players in this realm is just spectacular. It's just amazing.
Yeah, so people are coming, major representatives from these huge companies that are involved in the chip industry are coming to really learn from the presentations.
To learn and to plan and to organize.
Yeah, to learn so that they can prepare, from these researchers who are doing this leading edge work in the, I think of it as, so the planarization is the polishing or the smoothing
Yes.
of the chip or the material so that the devices work better, faster, more efficiently. So that's the key element that Dr. Kelleher and his research lab is the kind of international renown, have their international renown for.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're talking about making something flat to a level which boggles the mind.
Yes. Yeah, so we're making very small adjustments that have a huge impact on the flatness of very small silicon objects. It's really fascinating. So one thing I love about this conference and looking at the program, and I know you're about to go over there, is students are doing a huge amount of the presenting. So graduate students, undergraduate students from Lewis and from other places are getting the opportunity for the first time probably in a lot of their lives to present in front of people from 3M or from other companies where they're, it's essentially a, not a literal job, not a job performance, but it's something similar to, something that will make them more calm in the future when they're presenting their research to a potential employer or a doctoral program or something like that.
It's quite common that a student will make themselves known to a potential employer at a conference. So it is in some sense like a job interview. The formal job interview where you get involved with HR, et cetera, is some other point.
Later,
But what often happens, and this is in some sense how I got my first job in Chicago, was I was presenting at a conference and a faculty member who was looking for somebody walked up to me and said, "Hey, I saw your talk. Can you have dinner with me tonight? And let's have a conversation because I'm looking to hire somebody." And that's how we initially made our connection. So this is an opportunity for the students to basically shine. They get up, they talk about the amazing work they've done. They actually have an opportunity to present their own personality. They have opportunity to talk about, this is what they're passionate about, this is what I'm excited about. And then the people who are in the audience are like, I need to go talk to that person. And then that's how opportunities happen. We talk often about creating spaces for collisions. Conferences are the ideal place for creating collisions between two people who would never have known each other previously. And then they come together at this conference, and this is the way the science progresses. A conversation that was not scripted takes place, ideas are generated, and then plans are made.
That's really cool. So that's going on.
Yep.
I talked about celebration of scholarship a little while ago. It's another opportunity. It's really what celebration of scholarship is about at its core element, is giving many students that first opportunity in many cases to have that experience of presenting, so that when they do it the next time and the next time, they get better and more comfortable with it, because it does lead to jobs and other professional opportunities. And then this weekend on Saturday, we're hosting the ACA Student Symposium. So tell us a little bit about that.
Associated College of the Chicago area.
And I believe you are the president of ACA right now?
I am the chair of the executive board.
Okay, there you go.
For the
Thank
Associated
you.
College
It wasn't in
of
your
the
bio,
Chicago
so
area. That's true. There's probably a number of things there. But so this is a consortium of universities similar to Lewis University from throughout the Chicagoland area. And it was put together almost 60 years ago. Next year is our 60th anniversary. The focus was to have a consortium that would focus on STEM education. That was the original focus. Since then, ACA has accepted business and other disciplines into the fold. The idea is that we are always better when we are in association and collaboration. So the universities get together. In the fall, we have a pedagogy symposium, which is geared more towards the faculty members. Where people talk about all of the new exciting ideas for how to get better results from your courses. In the springtime, we have the Student Symposium, which is the students have an opportunity to come. We have about 225 registered to be here on Saturday from 13 institutions. We're going to have almost 40 oral presentations by students and about 120 poster presentations by students. And as you say, this is often the very first opportunity that a student has had to basically present work that they have done by themselves and under the supervision of an advisor, but it's their work. And so this is a really important step on their way to, to larger and greater things. One of the things that makes me smile is that we've made it possible for family members to attend as well.
Oh, great.
And I remember getting an email last week from a mother of a student, and she goes, I really, really would like to come see my daughter present. And I said, when you go to the registration page, there's a button that says family.
Oh, that's so nice.
Just click the family button, register, we welcome you, we can't wait to see you. And so I think there's about 20 family members registered for the weekend.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. So one thing, we mentioned, so what happens at Celebration of Scholarship here is that students get to wander around, like I said, I like to do, and look at other students. So you could be a physics student and you wander next door and you watch a poetry reading or vice versa. You get a real sense of what is going on at the university on the research side, on scholarship side. And then you also meet people. You might sit on a panel presentation with people you don't know from another department, if it's an interdisciplinary panel. And then ACA is even goes beyond that because it's students from other universities. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Elmhurst, North Central College,
Judson, Benedictine, St. Xavier, St. Francis, North Park, Concordia, Dominican.
And Lewis, obviously. So
Well,
our
we're
Lewis
hosting.
students are here hosting students from all these other universities and getting to know them and collaborating with them.
And that's the one thing I often say. So before we hosted, when I first started off as the chair of the executive board, and North Park was hosting, and they invited me and they asked me to say a few words at the beginning of the symposium. And what I asked the students who were present, I said, please, during the day, this is an opportunity for you to meet somebody that you've never met before. Take advantage of it. Walk over to a poster, go to a presentation, enter into a conversation with somebody that you don't know, and then just go from there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great advice. We have a couple questions that came in that I think I want to ask now because they're related to things we've already talked about. So a question about a student. So a lot of students watch this. If they're watching or thinking about coming to Lewis, interested in science, and they listen to you talk about why you got interested in science and had some connection with that. Like, what would be some classes that you would recommend if you don't know what your major is going to be, but you want to kind of explore the different sciences?
So we're actually we're going to be launching a new course in the fall that I think would be at the top of my list for that. And it's normally in a science curriculum, you dissect it down and say, okay, this class is going to teach this concept and this class is going to teach that concept. And we've decided that the very first semester when the students come in for the physical sciences, chemistry and physics, we want to just have a class about how to think like a chemist, how to think like a physicist, and what are the different ideas and what are the big ideas before you really start to, get into the specific concepts. So that's the class that I would actually recommend. And when we were proposing it, the undergraduate curriculum was actually so enthusiastic that they were saying that this class should be available to anybody. Instead of restricting it to physics and chemistry majors, it will be accessible to anybody who is interested in it, and it should be made available to anybody who is interested in it. So I would think that would be the best place to start.
And does it have a name or a number yet?
Oh gosh, yes. Do I know what it is? No.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, but it's easy.
People can contact you
absolutely,
and say, what was that class you were talking about when the schedule comes out for the fall?
And that was one of the things you were asking me earlier about the classes I taught. Probably the class that I was most interested in. I remember when I was a junior faculty member, untenured, and I was brought into the department chair's office, and the department chair said that the architecture college was dissatisfied with the standard physics curriculum, and they wanted a dedicated class just for architecture. And I was told, make it happen. And I asked my chair, I said, do I have free reign? And he goes, yes, do what you think best. And so I basically could create a science course for non-scientists, architects. And it was like, okay, what are the physical science concepts that I probably are important for them to understand? And let me build the course in a way which is very non-traditional.
Yeah.
And then I became the owner of that class, and all the way through my role as vice provost, I continued to teach that class. So it was just an amazing experience. So I actually know completely what that student is asking, and
Yeah.
the first step is to come talk to somebody like me.
That's great. And I know you have great enthusiasm for that level, like as you talked about, but I know a lot of other professors are also in CoAST are super interested in
Oh, absolutely.
helping people get that entree into
Well, that's
science.
Lewis, right?
Yeah.
That's in some sense the identity that we have.
And speaking of introducing people to the sciences from a lot of different angles, I'm aware that you have a podcast
Yes.
related to, at least tangentially related to science, or
Well, it has-
ostensibly related to science. You want to
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that?
So the podcast is named Science Coast, and I think we're in our third season. So we've recorded about 120 episodes so far, and my co-host, Dr. Mallory Havens, is phenomenal. She is the best co-host that anybody could ever hope for.
She's a professor of biology.
Yeah. So she's a full professor of biology. And one of the things that we do is there are episodes where it's just the two of us, and it's literally, she'll get excited about something that she read, and she texts me and say, I want to talk about this on the podcast.
And it's maybe 20 minutes long, something like that?
15 to 20. We
Yeah.
target for 15,
Yeah,
and we're happy if we
it's a
end before
little-
20.
Yeah, it's a good, efficient
It's
snippet of...
it's bite-sized.
Yeah, I
you
like
can
it.
listen to it while you make your dinner.
I like that.
And so we'll talk about different science topics that we're enthusiastic about. I mean, as a faculty member in biology, she knows so much more about biology than I ever will. And so she covers that aspects of it. I come from the physical science side. And then we invite all kinds of guests to come on, so we'll invite the head of libraries, or we'll invite faculty from across the university to come in and talk about their discipline. So it doesn't necessarily have to be science. I know there was a recent episode where we had the dean of the College of Business, Ryan Butt, coming. And as we were walking into the podcast studio, the dean of Humanities and Fine Arts and Communication was in the hallway. And we grabbed him and said, Mark, come. And so it ended up being Mallory and I, and then Ryan Butt, Dean of Business, and Mark Swain, Dean of Humanities, Fine Arts, and Communication. We just had a splendid conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure it was great. I didn't hear it. I'd like to hear that one. Whenever I listen to it, I'm always struck by how much fun you're having, and it's just a really, it's really high energy podcast.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And so again, it's called
Science Coast.
Science Coast, and people can find it.
I believe the university has a YouTube podcast channel.
Yes.
And it can be found there.
Okay, wonderful. And thank you to many of the same people who help make this show possible, help support
Absolutely.
the podcasting.
Absolutely.
And many students are involved in supporting that here.
Amazing facility that we have in that regard.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so now, since you've been the dean, there's been a lot of growth in CoAST. It's been connected to computer science, a lot of growth in international students, as well as with aviation, flight program and other majors in aviation. But we have two new ones recently approved by our board, and all of the other areas that need to approve new programs that come into existence. And so we want to talk about those a little bit. So the first one is the Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence. So give us a little summary of what that is. I think we might have a slide for it as well.
Absolutely, staying current. So computer science has historically been the catch-all for people who are interested in coding. Yet as the computer science discipline matures, it's really been diversifying in many different areas. Data science is an offshoot, for example. Cybersecurity is an offshoot. We have quantum computing, which is coming up, which is an offshoot. I actually think of artificial intelligence as an offshoot, the most current one.
Sure.
And it was, primarily computer scientists who created these algorithms, and they've been around. I remember back in the 1990s, machine learning, and in the physics realm, trying to figure out how to have computers help us pull the needle out of the haystack. We have these massive data sets, and sometimes it's really hard for a human on their own to be able to do it. So you want to create these algorithms that can take away some of the some of the grunt work in some sense that's associated with doing this data analysis, and so you would try to teach the computer how to search for the type of data that you were interested in.
Sure. Yeah.
And so this type of artificial intelligence has been growing and developing for many, many decades. And the big shift was when, for example, ChatGPT became freely available to everybody. The technology advanced to the point where it could be released generally, instead of being only the realm of experts who knew how to control it, because computers were the same way. When the first computers came out, it wasn't accessible to all people. If you had expertise, you would buy, your IBM computer and you would code, and you could get your computer to do things. And then when they started making these advanced operating systems, which made computers accessible to everybody, then it had this explosion. Same thing with these, large language models. They've been around for many, many decades. They've been used by experts for many decades. In the recent past, it's become accessible to the entire world. So it's now necessary and important to start educating broadly on how these systems work, how to manage these systems, and what the future of these systems are going to be. So we're very excited. I see it as a transition from fewer traditional computer scientists might be needed, fewer software engineers might be needed, and more people with a specific expertise in applied artificial intelligence, how the systems are put together, how they're maintained, how they're used. So we're definitely actually moving in that direction.
So if you're interested in being a graduate student in computer science or any of these related fields, it would probably be wise to just talk to faculty members or the chair or program directors.
I would advise that.
And they're all, like as you said, we have a lot of programs in a lot of specific computer science disciplines, and they're all great. And you can just kind of talk to a professor about which one might be the best for your professional goals.
It is no longer a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah. And there's a lot of crossover in the curriculum as well.
Absolutely. And we can see that with the faculty that we have. So the faculty that we have a diverse set of backgrounds. And then as they progress through their career, they gain additional skill set. And what they're teaching today may not be what they study as a PhD student. And it's simply the fact that the field is progressing and moving so quickly, which is one of the exciting things about the faculty at Lewis University. Not only do we have the traditional tenure track faculty, but we have the professors of practice. Faculty members who have been out in industry, in the private sector, using these technologies, who then decide, hey, you know what? I want to go back and I want to share with the next generation the experience that I've developed. And instead of coming in as a tenure track faculty, they come in as a professor of practice. So artificial intelligence, software engineering, cybersecurity are a blend of both the traditional tenure track faculty and these professors of practice.
Okay, we're going to go into rapid fire mode now. We are introducing a new doctorate in data science.
Yes.
We hope, pending some
approvals. The first doctorate in the college.
Yes, so that's very exciting.
Yes.
And I'm imagining that's for master's degree holders in data science, probably not necessarily, but people who want to reach the highest level of professional preparation in data science.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to try to mention is the fact that it is different than a PhD, because our focus is going to be on applied. We're looking for students who want to be leaders in their industry, but also because we're Lewis University, we really want to emphasize ethics. And we want our students to use the knowledge that they gain at Lewis University to go out into society and make the world a better place for humans. And the great thing about data science is that it's interdisciplinary by nature. It's a skill set. It's not a discipline, it's a skill set. And when you learn how to apply data science, you can apply it. If you're interested in healthcare, you can apply data science to make healthcare better. If you're interested in physics, you can use data science to make physics better. If you're interested in aviation, you can use data science to make aviation better.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's such a great opportunity for our students to really be leaders in making the world a better place and in the field really, really leading edge field of data science. So again, contact CoAST for more information about both those programs in artificial intelligence and a doctorate in data science. Last topic, got to do it in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We're really excited about a huge summer project to renovate the Harold White building. So tell me why we're doing it.
So the Harold White building is the home of our flight program, where we teach the next generation of airline pilots. And the program has just exploded. I think we're probably at least twice as many flight students as we've had in the past. And we're hoping to grow even farther. So we're bursting at the seams. So we need to renovate the space that we have so that it can be used more effectively and efficiently, so that we can train the pilots in the manner in which we want to train them. So we're super excited about it. I think there's some renderings that are available. The rotunda is just going to be spectacular. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that space actually makes a huge difference. And when people walk into these spaces, they are going to be enthused, they're going to be excited. Faculty and staff are going to want to come to work, and that just elevates the entire program. So not only are we increasing our ability to train our students and the capacity, but it's just going to raise the bar that much more.
So in addition to changing the whole flight area, we're also renovating 3 classrooms along that kind of wing next to the Harold White building, or is that part of the Harold White building, as well as creating new ways that flight instructors can interact with students, as well as a larger simulation lab as well. So we're really, really excited about the project. It's going to begin in May, right after graduation, right after commencement, and hopefully be done by the end of July, which is, we'll have our fingers crossed. We know how all that goes, but it's a huge project. So and then the flight, if you're a flight student or involved, especially in flight operations, there will be some alternative ways of doing flight over the summer, but all of that.
We're going to continue operations, absolutely.
Yeah, everything will continue over the summer from a slightly off, a site a little bit away from the construction, and everyone will have a front row view of the evolving Harold White building. So again,
exciting.
We're really low on time, so thank you so much for joining us. We had so much to talk about that it was really fun, and
Thank you for having
learned a
me.
lot. It was
Thank
a
you.
great pleasure. So thank you, everyone. We will be back next week. My very best wishes to you and all of your families during the spring season, and God bless you all.